Hi guys, James at Bespoke here, and welcome back to another episode of Bringing It Home. And in this episode, we're talking about the Just kidding. We're talking about this thing. Where's the rest of it? That's right, we're not talking about the KWA TK45 again. We're talking about a platform that we've covered a little bit over the past few months, but we're looking at going a little bit more into the format of the Bringing It Home series. You guys have asked for it, so I said I'd do it, and it kind of compares to the TK45, so it's a little bit more of a similar platform, but this is the one from Ares. Now this is a pistol caliber M4 style rifle. And as you can see here how small that thing is, you can take the front end off on a quick change, you can fold the stock, which also disconnects the battery. Great for those snipers out there that, you know, want to preserve the battery. Would that even be a thing? But one that wants to sort of reduce negligent discharges when this thing is slung, or if you just want to put it in a small space, maybe. This thing is absolutely superb. I've covered it a lot on the YouTube channel, and for good reason. I know we do a lot with Ares, but credit where it's due. Ares know how to launch a product, and if they've done well, what they've done well with the Striker, they're doing well with this platform now. And the model that you see here in front of me is the original X-Class M45, full metal body, full metal front end. Obviously plastic parts include the magazine, the grip and the stock here, but everything else apart from the iron sights is metal. The first plus side of this thing is the fact of how small you can make it. You fold the stock, press the button on the side, and then we pull this tab down and twist, and the front end comes off. So great for getting in a small bag if you're taking it to and from a game. Great for if you're in a sniper and a milsim event and you want to shove this in a backpack but you don't want it to take up much space. What I will say about these is they come with a lot of grease on that quick disconnect system out of the box, and you want to keep that greased. I have had a few run-ins with these out the box that perhaps they forgot to put the grease on there, and it is a bit more of a task to get that knocked around. You'll see that on the previous M45 video I did where we looked at the platform differences in depth. You'll see I struggled a little bit there turning that on, and it was just because it was so dry. So, like I said before, folding stock, you've got this cute little amoeba style stock on here, very easy to adjust. Nothing massively different from most M4 stocks here. It's got a nice pull down tabs there to pull it off. You're on a mini Tamiya connector at the back here, and you can fit a stock tube LiPo in there. 7.4, 11.1 recommended, and you'll see later why that is. Ares allow you to use this with 7.4 and 11.1 LiPos. You can also put the programming box that they sell on here as well to program it to burst and all other kinds of funky goodness. What you'll find on here is you've got ambidextrous fire controls, safe, semi and auto out of the box. You've also got a nice flat trigger, and the mag release can only be found on the right hand side. Bolt release can be found on the left hand side just like your normal M4, and the bolt does lock to the rear without holding the bolt catch like the TK45. Pull it back and you'll see it locks back into place. Adjust your hop unit, and it's not as anticlimactic as the TK45 when you press this little button. So it's a nice clack as you see there. Short stubby front end, you see, short barrel to go with, quick disconnect system. Like I said, you pull that down, twist it and the thing comes off. Nice plastic iron sights here, very low profile. Majority of airsofters aren't going to use these anyway. You're probably going to put an optic on there, but it's a nice feature. Not as nice as the PTS ones, but you know, nicer than most metal ones that you find out of the box. They did something really strange with this, like Ares like to do. As found with the Striker series, they put that 23mm thread on there, and then you have to buy their various adapters and such forth. Ares isn't stupid, they know what they're doing. The upsell is in their accessories in terms of barrel attachment stocks, and we'll go into that further in just a moment. So you've actually got a 16mm positive thread on there, which you can switch out with various accessories, which we'll go into in a moment. If you're wondering if this will take Mark 23 style suppressors, you are 100% correct. And just for demonstration purposes, if we take that thread protector off here, I have a silverback Mark 23 suppressor, and it's almost like this thing was made for this rifle. It recesses into the rail perfectly, gives it a nice look, and you'll see from a shooting video later on, this thing is great suppressed. Of course, without the suppressor and a short barrel, these are putting out quite a bit of air volume for their size and the short barrel, so they are very loud, very similar to the ARP9s and retrospective models from Classic Army and such forth. There's always something cool about screwing a suppressor on. Tell you what, the evidence speaks for itself. You can't tell the difference there. So nice and snappy on 11.1 lipos, like I said. They've got a micro switch here, and you can hear that. So it's nice and snappy. It's got their EFCS system, MOSFET system in here, and it works. It's like the same in all of their models, and it is a great system. It is proprietary to their gearboxes, but spares and upgrades and everything like that are easy to find. The next thing what they've done with this thing is they put their new slim motor grip on there, and you'll see that this is slimmer than usual. And it's got more of a feel like a gas blowback style grip, more like a real steel one. It's very much slimmer. It's so much nicer to hold in the hand. PTWs do this well as with their Sistema motor slim thin motors. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Very similar design in the motor here. It's just much smaller, obviously. And this is a superb feature. You've got a vertical, more vertical styled grip compared to a normal M4. It's very nice, very positive. Fits the low, the small size aspect ratio very, very well. So, Ares released this at M45. It was well received. Great performer out of the box. Very surprising performer out of the box from Ares. And the fact that this gun is about 70, 80, maybe even more cheaper pounds compared to the TK45. The accuracy was like ridiculous out of this thing. I've always been a fan of short barrels, granted, but just doing a quick shoot like we've done with the rest of the guns on this series, it was very, very surprising. So Ares released this product. It comes with a long and a short magazine in the box, which I'll show you here. Short magazine, Glock style, 45 ACP style on this as well. The ARP9 and the Classic Army X9 mags will not fit this. And of course, you have a long magazine in the box too. So there's the side. As well as when they launched this, they also launched the drum magazine. Very affordable. It's not electric like the Classic Army X9 drum magazine, but it is easy to fill up. You have a windy wheel on the bottom here, and it makes it less complicated. So there's not going to be many things to go wrong. You don't need batteries. You can literally pop the window open, as you see there, fill that up with BBs, wind this till it clicks, and if you run, the perfect example for this that I can think of would be, you know, your milsim games or your less intensive walk-on games. You're going to be using these magazines. However, if you go to a walk-on skirmish, it's a little bit more trigger-happy than most sites. A few come into mind locally, and you don't want to carry 10 bajillion magazines because everyone's got high caps and they just hose every bush in sight. You can carry one of these on you in a sizable pouch or a dump pouch maybe, and then when you get into the thick of it, you can just pull this thing out and rock. And this thing does rock on 11.1 lipo. So they released the gun with the 2 magazines included. Also in the box you get an M45 mag styled speed loader, but to be completely honest with you, this is a freebie and it is completely rubbish. Trying to fill the magazines up with this, yeah, it works. I'd probably rather fill like pistol magazines up with this or something that's less intensive, but for the 2 magazines that come with the gun, it did struggle. Switching it out to just a speed loader that you get off the shelf, for instance, one of these style speed loaders, they're perfectly fine, no issues whatsoever. So if you've looked at this rifle on the Ares Airsoft's website, you'll notice they've got some pretty funky figures into what these magazines actually hold. So the short magazine actually holds roughly 55 rounds and the long magazine about 125. I think these, don't quote me if I'm wrong, are about 1300 rounds, so plenty of BBs in that one. So they launched a gun, the magazines like I've just said, and they also launched a line of triggers and flash hiders. Haven't got them with me because I overlooked that and I'm stupid, but I'll put up on the screen. You've got a selection of 2 funky triggers to put on this as an aftermarket part. You've also got a choice of 5 flash hiders. It's got that 16mm positive thread, so options are going to be limited for you. They don't do an adapter down to 14mm at the moment, but I'm sure there are some around because, you know, you've got the likes of the TM Mark 23, Cybergun FNX 45. So after they released all of what I've spoke about previously, they did 2 more models. Mr. Ares is sat in his office, he's thinking, I'll give you the gun, I'll give you all these cool features, I'll give you the magazines, I'll give you the drum magazines, I'll give you the flash hiders, I'll give you the triggers. You want more? Of course we want more. So the next thing they come out with, and they must have been watching YouTube videos from the States in terms of like their legality with laws and such. In the States, if you have a pistol caliber M4 and it's got one of these funky style stocks, whether it be in the sort of flat paddle stock there or an arm brace, as you see here, it's technically classed as a pistol retrospective to that state. So they released 2 new models. Now these models are £100 cheaper than the X-Class, and these are the S-Class. S-Class being what you will, sports line, whatever you want to call it. So they're completely polymer in terms of the body. They have a metal front end here, metal barrel, plastic upper and lower receiver, a normal size grip here, which takes normal long shaft AG motors, so there's no slim grip there, and then you've got the different stock function which doesn't fold. You will also notice that the front end doesn't have a quick detach feature, and that's mainly because this rifle, as it comes out of the box, is as it is. For the £100 that you're missing a few of the key features, but you've still got ambidextrous fire controls, you've still got that flat trigger with the micro switch, you've still got the same EFCS gearbox system that's in the X-Class, so it's the same running gear. You've got a slightly different barrel length in the long version compared to the one previous, and no bolt catch, as you can see there. So they've just scrimped on the things that to make it more of a rival, like say for the ARP9s, which are plastic bodied. Classic Army are putting out some plastic bodied X9s as well, which we'll be looking at in the future. So they come out with a longer version like that, which comes with a sort of flat paddled stock. I can't remember what these are called, I do apologise. Different style plastic iron sights. And then the third model being a shorter version, barrel length similar to what the X-Class is. However, you still can't change the front end. It is as it is. It's got no quick detach. But they've put a stock on here similar to the Octa Arms Honey Badger. So the extension pieces that you find and pieces like that will fit. They just screw on here. Bloody hell. If I can get it off here. Let's pop the stock off. So you just turn it like that. They don't come with much battery space out of the box. So if you're wanting to run higher voltage batteries like the 11.1 LiPos, or you want to run higher capacity batteries, get a stock extension. There are many out there available. Same EFCS gearbox design. The 2 S-Class models are pretty much the same apart from the stock and a different length of handguard. So, S-Classes have released. You can get them, and don't worry Batman, all these do come in black as well, so we've got you covered. So it's been a while. These things have been out for a while. They've been sort of going through the paces with customers that have bought them. Very well received, good performance out of the box. But then Ares say, hang on a minute, we're not going to stop right there. We're going to give you even more stuff to put to your rifle. So now they've brought out 6 extra stock options, which are you can get the flat paddle stock, you can get the arm brace stock, which they do with extension tubes for bigger batteries. You've also got a choice of 12 handguards for this thing, meaning the X class, because that has the quick detach, 12 handguards. So you've got a normal wrist style handguard like this, which comes in black and tan, and you've got 3 links. You've got the short, you've got the medium, you've got the long. But then they do an M-lock version as well, so short, medium, long, black and tan, but you've got M-lock there. So all their M-lock accessories that they did when they were pushing the Strikers and other platforms, all them accessories will fit. So this is a completely, if you've got the X-Class model, it is a completely modular platform, and this is how you release a product. And I've been banging on that Ares have done this well for some time, but it might come across I'm a little bit biased to Ares. Maybe you could see it that way, but like I said, credit where it's due. They know how to release a product, they know how to upsell it. And what's the first thing you do when you buy a gun and you've used it? You want to adapt it, you want to throw red dots on it, you want to get extra mags. You know, I've got a CQB front end for when I'm doing indoor games. Well, when I go to a woodland game, I want a long barrel, so literally, okay, I've got to get a woodland game this weekend, take that off, put your long fore end on, and away you go. Now, I haven't got any different fore ends with me, but they have landed and they are available on the website, so there's an absolute crap ton of accessories on the website at the moment you can get for these things. Since then, all these accessories have landed, so we've got all the handguards, we've got the flash hiders, we've got the different stock options, we've got the magazines, short magazines, long magazines, drum magazines, type 1 and 2 triggers, 5 types of flash hider, the list goes on. You can really adapt this system like they did with the Ares Striker, and you know, companies will eventually cotton on to what Ares are doing, and they're a little bit late to the table, to be honest. And for companies likes of Caleb Ray did the TK45, I imagine they get these guns out, as a few of you have commented in the previous videos, they get the guns out and then they move on to the next project. It's as simple as that. And you really are missing a trick. You know, let's say you're into modifying cars or anything like that, or you're into vaping, or I don't know, everything above RC cars. I'm really clutching at straws now. Every industry has aftermarket parts that you can really take your purchase further, no matter what type of industry or hobby that you're into. So they do this really, really well. I'm going to stop blabbering on now because I could probably go on forever. What I really do like about these guns is they are well built for the metal one. If you know about the honey badges that they've done before, AMO 13s, AMO 16s, that whole line, they've done well with the honey badger. They've been around for some time, they know what they're doing, and they're keeping it simple with their EFCS gearbox. It can be found in their new SR25s or M110s, whichever you want to call them. The new Sekitor Rapax models, they're OEM by Ares, they use the same EFCS gearbox, so it's just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know. And when it is broke, you do fix it, obviously, but quick change spring guides on these gearboxes as well. Just obviously, it's not like you pop the stock and you can change it, just a couple of screws and you can switch the power out. I have filmed the chrono results already, so we're going to go to that now. The first model that I fire will be the X class, the second model I fire will be the S class long version, and the third model I fire will be the short S class model. So, interesting. They all pretty much roll around the same thing. It's what you'd expect from a short barreled SMG. I think it's not bad. The EFCS gearbox is a tried and tested thing where you can literally just pop the spring out, pop a new spring in and upgrade it for your field. Obviously you're going to have to sort of fit the longest front end, find out what the height of your FPS is. What I would do is, if I was going for sort of like the longest version of the front end, I'd perhaps fit that first, chrono that, get that to about the highest that I want to shoot for woodland and such, like 340, 345, and then as you go down barrel sizes, you're going to find that your FPS will reduce slightly as well. Now, firing these things, as you'll hear, they are ridiculously loud. We have done some accuracy tests with this, which I'll show you in just a moment. Now, for the accuracy test, I used just the X-Class model. They all use the same system. They're all pretty much the same FPS. You've got a slightly longer barrel on the long version, but you know, neither here or there. So for the test, 0.2 gram, funnily enough, Ares BBs. 0.2 gram BBs, haven't messed with the hop unit whatsoever. I've literally put 11.1 battery on it, which is the 2200, which I cannot see from here. 2200, 11.1 battery, same battery I was using on the TK45. Super snappy because of that MOSFET system. So 0.2 BBs in this long magazine here. The first part of the video you'll see I fire it without the suppressor on, and then the second part of the video, the second part of the firing demonstration, I'll change and I'll put this silverback suppressor on, and you can definitely hear the difference. And then the third part of the video, I'm just firing it in the distance with the suppressor on and the suppressor off, just so you can get a sort of insight to how loud and quiet this thing can be without firing at a target that's right next to the camera. So I'll show you that just now. Now you've got to admit, how cool is that? That suppressor really does work. I can't sort of say for other suppressors, because literally this is the only suppressor I have in the house that is a 16mm positive thread. In fact, no, that's a lie. I've got a genuine TM marked with this suppressor somewhere, but no one wants to see that. This thing is awesome, and this is exactly how I'd run it. Nice little red dot on there, nice and compact, sort of dipping and diving. Oh, it's just... Now, okay, let's just hang up a minute. I am a little bit biased towards pistol caliber guns at the moment. I own a lot of them. Got a Scorpion, got a TK45, got a PP19. Okay, let me put this into perspective for you. After having buying a TK45, which still many of you don't believe I've done, take a look at our Instagram. I've been doing a lot to it. I don't have a need for another M4 pistol caliber carbine. Would that stop me from buying the M45? Absolutely not. I will give it to, and I've got to sort of compare it to the TK45, because it is sort of similarly marketed, if that's even a thing, to the M45. The reason why I like the TK45 is because it had that bit of a vector vibe about it. But honestly, after firing it, that thing is absolutely shit hot. This thing looks great, it feels great. Performance wise, out of the box, wasn't the best. But you know, most airsofters will upgrade the inner barrel and hot rubber pretty much straight away anyway. What comes fitted to the factory with most airsoft replicas these days is, you know, sort of thrown in the bin or thrown to one side for when you sell it again. My mind is boggled how good this thing shoots with such a small. I can't tell whether I've not had enough to drink or I've drank too much. For such a small barrel, this thing is the nuts. And you'll see there from the actual test, I fire all the guns the same, all the pistols the same. I have got no motive to try and fix the results. Point two BBs in the magazine, sat the magazine in, and with the M45, I couldn't even get the battery in the stock. So I had one cell of the 11.1 twin stick LiPo that I was using for the TK45 in here, the other one was dangling. I didn't have a red dot on it. This is going to look really misleading. Didn't have a red dot on it, so I've got it, I've got the magazine in, and I'm literally trying to fire it. I'm trying to look over. I didn't even pop the iron sights up, which was weird. So the first round I fired was pretty much dead centre of the target. And I think many airsofters, you know, you might feel differently, will say that, you know, once you fire something for the first time, first impressions are everything, and you do get a really good vibe from this platform. The magazines are good, they fed, there's plenty of choices of magazine, shorts, longs, drum magazines. Let's put the drum magazine in because this is going to look cool. I mean, let's put the red dot sight back on there. I often say, if you're not having fun, what is the point? And I have had fun with this thing. I mean, you know, you go to your, it needs a grip. It needs a grip. I haven't got the tools to take that off the KWA, but you know, it's nice and compact. The verticality of the grip is really reassuring when you hold it. The slimness of the grip with this new slim pistol grip motor is just, you feel, I mean, I'm coming from a background of earning a lot of PTWs, CTWs, DCWs, all that training weapon nonsense. I went through it, and it's like going back to that, but without having all the unreliable aspects of it. And they do these grip kits for any M4s. You can go and get them. It will fit on like a normal grip, slim motor. They do them for AKs as well. And this is exactly as I run it. Whether I'd have the tan or the black, I really don't know. May edge towards black, just because although the tan paint that's left on the suppressor does kind of go with the flat dark earth. Would I run this as a primary? Yes, I would. Happily walk onto a skirmish day with this. Would I run this as at a milsim game? Yes, I would. I can see plus sides to that. If you do follow our social media, our Instagram, Facebook and everything like that, and you've seen the Bigfoot D3 chest rigs that we do, I can get 6 magazines of the TK45 in that section that you see there, and these are going to fit as well, no problem at all. Let me just compare the magazine size. So yeah, it's very, very similar. Width and height is very, very similar. So in fact, it's probably going to be even easier with those magazines because they don't have this bumper on the bottom. I think we're, as airsofters, we're spoiled nowadays that there's 4 companies now competing with the same style of platform. What I'd take away from this is you're going to have an absolute blast with it, even out of the box. Performance, spot on. Wow. Rate of fire, 11.1, 7.4. You can run the program box on here. I tend to not put program boxes on Ares, literally just because as soon as you use that programming unit on an Ares EFCS system, if you program it to either battery, you're kind of stuck with that battery. But I'm probably, if I'm going to run it on 11.1s, I'm not going to be running it on a 7.4 anyway. I probably wouldn't program it to 3-man burst because these things are such a grim factor when you rip them on full auto. That thing on that week, that game day was just perfect, and this is going to be even better. Just like the TK45, the magazine, the long one, did have a bit of a wobble out the box, just in terms of the first time that I filled it. I was using this thing, so I probably overfilled it, and it did sort of jam up with a gentle tap like that, and the BB's freed and it fed perfectly fine. Short magazine is great. Can I see a use for this? If you want to keep a low profile on your rig, 55 rounds compared to 125 rounds, I mean, if you're running mid caps anyway, space is expensive on your chest rig, and these are going to go in the same pouch, so obviously one's going to be longer. Would I run the short mag? Honestly, I don't know. It is dinky, it's cute, and you kind of want a few of them as backups. I don't know why. I don't know what it is with having loads of magazines, it just feels good. I would definitely at least have one drum mag to hand for when I'm going to them skirmish days, which requires a lot more firepower in those terms. But most predominantly I'd probably use the long magazines, 125 rounds, similar to the 120 rounds of the TK45, which do last a while. And just listen to that click. Oh. You know, it just, as an airsofters point of view, I'm not sure if real steel shooters get this as well. If you can't stop picking it up and play with it, it's normally a good thing. TK45, it's got a click in, not quite as satisfying. You do have to hold the bolt lever up on this, but that would just dampen the mood in any room. I have had to sort of put upgrade parts in the TK45 just because the hot rubber in there wasn't, when it was keeping rounds flowing through it, it was great, but honestly, I can't recommend this product enough. It has my own personal stamp of approval on it. We've got these on the website at the moment, the X class, the S classes. Me personally, I'll be going for the X class just because further down the line, your point of view changes. You might want to do something a little bit different. You might not want to be short. You might want to have longer barrel capabilities. But just the fact that, you know, what other platform out there can you quick swap? I know GMP did their quick swap thing, but I'm talking about readily available and massively available. You know, most retailers have these things in stock. You could literally take this, you could have one platform for once set up with a couple of front ends, and you've got the capabilities for every scenario, if that makes sense. I know I'm saying that a lot, but I'm trying not to come out as cross as biased as I can, because you know, it does what it says on the tin. Rips on 11.1. You know, single shot is nice and snappy. They are, I mean, with the models, I did notice a bit of trigger length difference. So with the X class to begin with, you did have to pull the trigger really far and give it a bit of pressure for it to fire. The long S class is the same. The short S class seems to be a little bit more forward. You could probably adjust that with the micro switches and stuff, or it might just be a case of the way these things are built and put in the factory, they're just a bit stiff out of the box. But it's nice and smooth now. Hope you've enjoyed this platform. Hope I've cleared up a few things for you. If you want to know more information about this, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm pretty much, or if I'm awake, I'll answer your message or your email. You can get me directly at james@bespokeairsoft.co.uk if you want to ask me something personally about this platform or another platform that we're working with or selling on the website. You can also get in contact with us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and the one with the bird, Twitter. If you want to know any more, let me know what you want to see next on the channel, and I will do my best, of course, to get in front of that with you. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of Bringing It Home. Hope this has come across the way that I wanted it to. What I will tell you in this series is I will give you my honest opinion on these things. Rips, triggers, just make sure they're nice and crisp out the box. By all means, if you've had an M45 from us and you're not happy with how the trigger feels, just get in contact with us, we'll sort it out, not a problem at all. But most of them, it just takes a few rounds, it's almost like they're a bit stiff from the factory. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you can, please subscribe, hit the bell notification, hit the like button if you feel we deserve it, and I hope you do. And we'll see you in the next episode of Bringing It Home. Have a good night. I'm gonna need more silverback suppressors. Hi guys, James at Bespoke Airsoft here, and welcome back to another episode of Bringing It Home. And in this episode we're looking at another pistol caliber model model. Hi guys, I'm James at Bespoke Airsoft and welcome back to another video. No. Hi guys and welcome back to another... For f***'s sake, get it right. Hi guys, I'm James at Bespoke Airsoft and welcome back to another episode of Bringing It Home, and in this episode we're looking at... I'm going to stop playing punt now. I'm finished.